I am going to kind of just go over the pasture and range management camp. So this is a program we started a couple years ago. Um, Kind of just came about through or because of a decline in um, not only kids and participants in those couple natural resource contests, but then in turn, after talking to Dr. Ivy and a few of the folks from the university and other universities, just kind of seems like a decline in students pursuing interest in degree paths associated with um, natural resources, whether it be fish and wildlife or pasture and range management, range degrees, soil science degrees, etc. So anyways, we kind of just brainstormed and tried to come up with something that would get maybe teachers and agents more comfortable with sharing that information to our kiddos, because that was kind of one of the, I guess, indicators and messages we'd gotten from a lot of like the adults now is that, well, I don't feel comfortable coaching that, or I don't feel comfortable getting kids involved in those areas because I don't know much about it. Um, and our school and county kind of just has a long history of um, sending kids to contests in those areas. And then, of course, we have an extremely active soil and water conservation district that plays a big role in the community and other things and stuff. So, anyways, that's kind of the nutshell of where this came about. Um, I am going to share my screen and kind of just give you a rundown of um
So Tara, real quick, this is not tied to the ranch management camp then. This is something different.
this is correct. This is separate. So this is pasture and range camp. So it's where we just focused on like the rangeland, so pasture and range and land contests kind of per se, but then of course we dove into like a careers associated with it, um, and just like natural resource sciences in general. Um, so here's kind of, and ignore my 900 tabs I have open. Um, but here's kind of just a summary. I threw kind of all the documents in a sense, kind of in just a PDF so you could kind of see. So all the kids were, so each team is required to pay $40. So like if you wanted to bring a team of kids, you would pay $40. And this kind of helps cover like some lunch costs as well as educational material. So every kid gets a 3-ring binder with contest guidelines and just range management type guidelines. So for this coming year, we tentatively have it scheduled for January 18th and 19th. That's Martin Luther King weekend. That's when we've kind of done it in the past, and it kind of just works and gives that other day of recovery if you are traveling from a long ways away. So here's the flyer. Again, this is tentative. We haven't sent anything out yet, but that first day that kids and coaches and agents get there, we just kind of do an introduction of the contest as well as pasture and range management in general and kind of what that means, sort of like a range science, range management 101. We go over ecological site descriptions and and talk about what that means and then how that relates to contests and then range science and range management in general. Um, and so we kind of spend the morning doing that, and then we spend most of the day, and it says 9 to 5, but I think we actually were in the field from probably 11 to 7. We spent almost the entire day with the exception of the morning, out on some ranches and in on rangeland, and drove around to just multiple different sites looking at different types of ecological sites, different types of rangelands. Went over a lot of grasses, types of plants. We tried to take kids to more of like a desert rangeland. We took them more towards the Gila, so they were able to see pinyon juniper type rangeland, and really show them the differences of like what that means, and then again how it relates to these contests. Um, and then we provided sack lunches to them that day also, and we just ate lunch in the field. And then on Sunday, we reconvene. We spend a lot of time going over plant identification, um, different practices that can be done on the rangeland. And again, all of this kind of still continues to come back to the contest itself. If there's something on the rangeland that's preventing distribution of cattle, maybe it's because of lack of water. And we talk about what that means and what you would do to help mitigate those problems. And then we spent a decent amount of time talking about different career opportunities um, with or through like state agencies, federal agencies, Natural Resource Conservation Service, Forest Service, and then talk too about like, the university really wants to see, not just our university, but other universities really want to see more students coming into those career paths upon graduating high school. So let's see. Here's just some pictures. Let me zoom out of the camp. So here was kind of our classroom component that first morning, going over grasses. Can you guys see that?
Yes, I had a quick question. Is lunch provided the second day as well, or just the first day?
So we just provided it the first day, but we probably will look at changing that up a little bit this year. Here's kind of going over the student books. They're definitely provided a lot of material. So we kind of went through and showed everybody how to use those books. Here was everyone, or here's one of the pictures, whoops, of everyone that attended. We've definitely had some really good attendance for this camp. Here's one of the sites that we stopped at. This was more of like a creosote desert rangeland that had been grazed, and so we talked about like, how do I even identify difference between grazed plants and ungrazed plants. Here was an ungrazed range site more towards the Gila, just doing a lot of group work, teamwork, plant identification.
And Sarah, is it always held in the same place, or do you move it around the state?
Move it around the state, is that what you said?
Uh-huh.
No, we just host it here in our county.
Okay.
I mean, we probably could go somewhere else if, someone ever had interest and wanted us to come do that or something. That's, I'm sure, something we could look at doing. It's
Well, you have pretty good variation of terrain there in your county.
Yeah, that's kind of why it's nice. We don't have to spend too long and like go hours and hours without having to, look at 3 or 4 or 5 different pretty diverse rangeland types. So it's kind of nice. Yep, so that's kind of some of the photos associated with the camp. And then here's just an example of one of the PowerPoint presentations that we go over and provide in their notebook, where it just talks about how the contest is broken down, what ecological sites mean, what you look at to determine different characteristics for plant identification. I'm going through this fast, but I think we have to keep it to our 10 minutes. So that's just kind of a super brief nutshell of, again, some of the things we include, some of the things that we go over, and kind of how we structure the 2-day program.